Hey everybody, Zero here, and the Arc World Tour is at its end with one final competition. 15 qualified competitors across the globe will be traveling to Los Angeles, California for one more bout, and of course, one more to be decided in the LCQ. But before they all end up going hand-to-hand combat, I wanted to get some conversations with some of the qualified competitors here before what begins the end of 2024 competition for Granblue Fantasy Versus Rising. Joining with me today is Paragon's own Aarondamac. How are you doing today, man?
Oh, I'm doing great. I'm excited to talk. It's gonna be fun. A lot of there's so much work everyone's putting in, and I think it's interesting to get insight on it from us.
Yeah, honestly, I have to say, turning into the stream a few days ago where you were practicing with a whole bunch of folks. Zane was in there, you had Redeemer and Elsa and so many other folks in there, both qualified, not qualified, folks trying to get into LCQ. It's been really fascinating to look and see what's going on in terms of practice, talk about the game, and prepare for the new update. And it's going to be interesting to see how everyone else kind of shakes down in that LCQ. So you want to divulge a little bit and maybe how you've been preparing for Arc World Tour this year.
So I will say immediately after the patch, I was definitely trying to figure out what I'm trying to play, and I definitely did Sandalphon study and investigation, and I also did Belial study, and I think Belial is still pretty strong. So as far as that, after a few days, I was like, okay, I know what I'm picking. I know what I want to do mostly. And since then, I've just been playing room matches and targeted sets against people who play the characters that I know I'll be fighting against, instead of just queuing up and slamming ranked and getting mad, right?
Yeah, I do that too
yeah.
much. Yeah.
But I've also I haven't been playing too much because I don't want to burn out before I get to the tournament, because I would also love to play casuals with people before the tournament. So I've also just been doing a lot of watching and thinking about the game too.
I was wondering too if you were going to try to attempt the Guilty Gear Strive LCQ like you did last year. Is that on the docket for you? Or you strictly focused on Granblue this year?
I'm focused on Granblue. I've kind of been out of it for too long with Gear, and I know if I wanted to get to a level where I feel like I could win, I would have to take practice away from Rising, and I'm not willing to do that.
Okay. No, fair enough. Of course, one of the earliest qualifiers here, the Evo champion, and still so many other accolades throughout the year. But is there anybody in particular that you've had your eye on, or maybe you hope to avoid running into during those group stages? Granted, you're getting one of the first picks here to decide order pick, and then group right after that. How are you feeling around there?
I think ideally I do not have to fight Zeron, because I have, regardless of how good or bad I am at the matchup, I also think I just have a bad mental against Charlotta, and obviously he's very good at the game. And then as far as I would like to dodge Coco because I want us to both play grand finals, but honestly, anyone can get the work. I'm ready.
Okay.
I'm not scared. I'm not scared of anyone.
That would be a very cinematic grand finals to see you and Koji Coco. But yeah, Zerom is definitely one of those players out here with the Charlotta. I guess last time you fought was it just C Otaku would have been the last time that you two have crossed paths,
yeah,
right?
C Otaku.
Okay. Outside of the competition, of course, any surprises that you might have been working on lately? Anything new that you have in the tank? Initially it seemed like Belial might not be the pick, but it's, by the sounds of it here and now, you're growing into those changes a little bit, still feeling pretty comfortable with the character.
Yeah, I think Belial is in a pretty good spot right now. I just think he very slightly loses to a few of the characters that are the ones who didn't get changed mostly. But I think he's in a pretty good spot. I think I could do it with Belial. I will say there's a singular matchup though, because I was waiting for Sandalphon for a long time, and I would love any excuse to play him. But I also I actually think he does better into Versusia than Belial does this patch. So I'm honestly, if I run into Versusia, I'm playing Sandalphon.
Now, is that because of certain forms, or is it just the kit of Sandalphon himself?
It's the way that, so Wind mode is really good against Versusia, because if you ever hit her with any of the fireballs, not only are they go at the speed of light, but you can also just pull up, right? and it makes her so that she wants to save her pillar cooldown to check me going into win, so then I could actually get in, right? And if she ends up burning the pillar cooldown and wants to check me for just popping an element for free, she has to just run across the screen at me. So I feel like it's a matchup where there's more interaction happening between both players.
That's going to be very interesting. I'm shocked at the wind one, because it does seem like, which is also great to hear that you're really exploring those forms, because I've heard so often that with Sandalphon players that really started exploring, and granted, brand new character, still pretty early on in the life of the game for the character, that wind is that double-edged sword of one being very strong, but also very dangerous to play with because that increased damage that Sandalphon takes from changing into that form.
Oh yeah, it is definitely dangerous, and you could still, get hit and take 70 from Versusia, but I think his neutral control against her when he does get the fireball established is really good, and it's so fast that you can, like, how Versusia has her amazing counter zoning super, like,
right.
You still can poke at her with the fireball from like closer ranges because it's just that fast, like you can't see it.
Yeah, that's gonna be really cool to see, actually. Yeah, I haven't really tried out that matchup myself. Played a little bit of Sandalphon, still trying to get used to deciding whether or not what form I would like to use and when and where and which matchups, but yeah, that character is going to be interesting. I felt coming from Frosty Faustings into, as we found out the release date of Sandalphon right after that, that I felt like we'd see Sandalphon running amok. Do you think that's going to be the case here at Arc World Tour Finals? Do you think it's going to be very selective, like how you're explaining here?
Well, if anyone else is using the character besides Zippy, it is probably a matchup specific thing. I know Zippy is all in on Sandalphon though right now because he does not believe in Lucilius at his current power level. But for me, it is definitely just a bag in the tool, like a tool in the toolkit, basically.
Okay. So I guess the closing question that I would have is your thoughts on the game going into Arc World Tour, like the current state, patch 2.0 just releasing. It's kind of like that soft launch as we roll into it because we're still very comfortable with a lot of the original 1.5 changes, but not a whole lot has changed for across the cast. I felt personally attacked, as a Beatrix player. You did say that some of us didn't get changed, which, no, hey, that's fine. It's totally okay. But no, you're so right. Like, what happened in 2.0? How are we feeling about this one?
Well, I will say at least half of my frustration is the timing of the balance, because I kind of wish we could have just either had more time to prep for finals on this version, like maybe a January launch, or we could have waited a month. But regardless of that, it's neither here nor there. I'm at the acceptance phase with everything, and I'm just going to do what I can, right? Because that's all you can do. But as far as my thoughts on the version itself, I wish there was just more that was different, I guess. I do think BC being minus is a good step, but I also think that counter hit BC was stronger and more of a prevalent issue with the mechanic the entire time. So I hope down the line that is something they could take a look at. It's kind of interesting because, like you said, it's not a lot of stuff changed. And I think, what was it, I think 19 out of the 34, 36 characters in the cast, they were just only universal changes. So
right.
A lot of matchups and characters are playing mostly the same way. You just can't be lazy with your BCs anymore.
And your DPs.
Oh yeah. Oh, thank you for pointing that out. I love the counter hits on reversals.
Oh, me too.
I think it was good. I think people should care for making mistakes with the reversals, because reversals are such strong moves in any game.
Yeah, that I couldn't agree more. That change coming into it here, I didn't recognize it or really had too much opportunity at Frosty before the patch had released, but to see that change come through, I think that's going to change the day. I'm already seeing the landscape change personally in the ranked runs that I've done, and even some folks that have been playing on the side of just, we're all holding back and thinking maybe I just don't DP for ever right now.
Yeah, so. Especially that also helped. Not only did characters like Matera get buffs, but an issue she had was if she gets nothing mid screen when she punishes a reversal, and now she gets I think she gets maybe top 3 damage in the game on a block reversal if she wants to spin the U butterfly. So it was just a great way to balance out character strength, and having a meterless reversal is still a very good strength that you want your character to have, but now there's a little bit of a weakness with it, which is good. I think it's good tuning.
Absolutely. I feel like they hit that point home at the top of that patch note where they really talked about like this patch kind of seems like the risk reward patch where they really reassessed it. They assessed it a little bit in 1.5 with like some characters, but here I feel like they really drove that point home that risk reward needed to be adjusted here, and they're taking that approach that they normally do of just let's see what this looks like before we start taking the sledgehammer to everybody. Great, some characters got left alone. I personally advocate that maybe Belial kind of got left alone a little bit more, but I understand the 2M change. I think that's a reasonable change for the character. But it's interesting to see this patch because you're right. Like it doesn't seem like it changed too much, but we'll see how the power creep is handled in this patch for sure. Well, that is all the questioning that I have. Is there anything you'd like to leave for the folks at home before we head out and look forward to Arc World Tour?
Not necessarily, just enjoy the show, and if I do it again, don't be too mad. That's all I have to say. So, yeah, it'll be fun. It'll be very fun.
I'm definitely excited for this. I love that you're bringing the heat here. I'm looking forward to see how this picks out. Looking forward to seeing your decision when it comes down to group choice, order choice, and what that strategy looks like for everybody that shows up this following weekend here. So don't forget, folks, that's going to be Arc World Tour 2024 happening March 21st through the 23rd. We can get that LCQ running on the day prior, and it's going to be a blast. We're talking the worldwide competition coming together for Granblue Fantasy Versus Rising, a fantastic celebration of the game, but also Guilty Gear Strive and Under Night in Birth 2. That's the Cis Celeste edition, and it's going to be a glorious weekend here. Aarondamac, let the folks know where they can find you at home when you're making your content or just musing about your day.
Oh yeah, so I mainly use Twitter and Twitch as ways for people to find me. But yeah, my is it's the way you see it on the graphic, just Aarondamac with 2 C's on Twitter /X, whatever you prefer to call it these days. And on Twitch, it's just Aarondamac on Twitch. So yeah.
All right. Well, thank you very much. And again, everybody that tuned in, thank you so much. We'll see you next time, everybody. Stay happy, stay healthy, and later days.
See ya.